Hey everyone, welcome to the recap of The Walking Dead universe. We are here live every week to discuss the latest episodes. You can catch our recaps at any time, available on most major podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice, including YouTube. Today we are covering season 1, episode 3 of TWD Daryl Dixon. For those of you joining us live tonight, thanks for taking time out of your evening to be here. I am your host, Tamara, and I love a good TV show and a good book. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at the Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello, Tamara. Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I am also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So if you would like to connect with me online, you can pretty much find me everywhere at Lisa Orban Author or at Indies United Pub.
Yes. So before we get started, we'd like to remind you that we do want your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live on YouTube, hit us up in the comments section. If you're listening on a replay, you can still comment on any platform, or you can call us using the voicemail link. So we want to hear from you and possibly include your comments. If you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Yes, no scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around a lot. And of course, huge spoiler alert for everything in the universe, every show through yesterday's episode. So if you're cool with that, this is the place for you. And let's get started. All right, episode 3. What'd you think?
Well, we know what happened to poor little Amy.
I know. And last week I said, we're going to see her
Yeah, you
again.
did.
Yeah.
And I said, well, maybe she might be okay. I mean, she was with her mom. Nope, nope,
Nope.
nope. Doesn't look like she survived that day.
No, she was down there playing on that stupid bike and she
Yeah.
got bit.
She got because she has the same little outfit on and the necklace and everything.
Yeah.
Poor little thing.
I know. I think she felt bad. Like, dang, I left that kid.
Well, and she even said that to Daryl. She says,
Yeah.
I left her. But, I mean,
But it's not like she was alone. You can't just snatch someone's kid.
Exactly. I mean, they didn't know what was really going on, how bad things were, and she told her to go back to upstairs to her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously she did not.
No, she said, Bump, what you talking about? My mom's on the phone. I'm going to ride my bike.
Yeah.
La, la, la.
So,
see what happens.
Yep, she was in the courtyard. So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess she grateful she probably didn't get eaten.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's something, I suppose.
Yeah, that's something for sure. So I like the episode overall. I think it was fine. There were some interesting things that were going on and some things that I was not surprised about at all. So nothing really surprised me, but there were some interesting aspects to the episode, I think.
Mm-hmm. I like the. I mean, I knew going into this, as soon as they hit Paris, she was going to run into the guy she initially left with.
Yeah, we said that last week too. We were like, we're going to see this guy. We're not done with it.
We're not done with him.
Yeah.
And there he was.
There he was.
Well, but there was
bag.
one surprising turn from when she met up with him. You should have told me I had a son.
Now, someone told me, so I kind of knew that was going to happen, but I kept my mouth shut though. But what disappointed me was that when someone says something like that, give me 1 or 2 sentences following that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he seems like a lying type of person.
Yeah.
He seems like someone that would totally twist something to try to get access to her or to create a favor situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do kind of believe it because I heard that, but I feel like the storytelling in this moment could have been better to support it. Because my first thought is, you lying.
Right.
But
and she's looking at him, he's like, well, didn't your sister tell you? No.
Obviously not. And I mean, like, think about it. When they first escaped, she went and's like, I had to bring my sister. He didn't say a word. He
No.
like, hey, let's drop her ass off somewhere.
Yeah.
He no indication whatsoever.
No. Well, I mean, she didn't realize that her sister was pregnant. He didn't. Apparently, she never told him either.
No.
And my guess is because back when they were showing the flashback to that, she's like, "Why didn't you tell me? I didn't want you to be disappointed in me." So
Right.
I would, my guess is that she was thinking more not so much the pregnancy, but how she got pregnant.
I know. But even as she's screaming bloody murder and vomiting and
Yeah.
everything else, and she feels like she's near death, you're not gonna tell your sister who the baby daddy is.
No, because it was, that was her boyfriend ish. I would imagine. I mean, think about it. If she had kept the secret that long, and I don't think she wanted her sister to resent that baby.
Probably. Although, I mean, most adults would not blame the child. It's not the child's fault,
No, it's
right?
not. But
Um,
at the same
but you
time, I
never
mean,
know.
there's, this child is, she got pregnant because she was sleeping with her sister's boyfriend ish.
Ish. I don't even it's still not exactly clear what their relationship was. It was clearly transactional in some kind of way.
Yeah. And,
Um
and, and he was
yeah,
made it very clear that, well, who took care of you? Who's always taken care of you? And showed her wrist where she had tried to kill herself. Who pulled you out of that bathtub?
I know.
Who
And
took you to the
that
hospital?
I have to say that type of like how he was talking to her and stuff, I still found that really like
Bothersome.
degrading and very red flaggy all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
So he might have technically helped her when she was down, but he didn't do her no favors.
No. Well, I mean, he may have helped her, but he expected something in return.
Exactly.
This was
Hey,
not
go
out of the.
steal and get this stuff for me, or go run this con, or whatever the hell she was doing in that club.
Mm-hmm. Well, and obviously she'd been doing it for what she had quite the stash there.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't even pull. I don't know if you noticed this or not. She didn't even pull everything that was out of that box when
No,
she put it in the bag.
she pulled the drugs, the
Yeah,
watches.
but there was still
There's
stuff
still
in there when
stuff.
she left.
Yeah,
And then she put it back. So there might be more in there.
I don't know. It's crazy. But
But
I don't know. I think so this guy's going to be a problem. He's going to
oh
be a
yeah,
big problem. And I think that storyline I think was the most exciting thing about the episode. And I do so look, I feel like Daryl kind of revealed himself to be Captain Save a Ho.
yeah,
He's Captain Save a Ho because she's saying it's fine. I got this. He like, I don't need it. Let's go. I'm like, oh my God. Leave that girl alone.
here's the but I'm gonna side with Daryl on this because as with that guy as creepy as he is, whatever it was that he asked for, that would not be the end of it.
Of course not. And he knows that. And she knows it. She's not a dummy. She
Right.
dealt with him,
And
you
I don't
know?
think and I think the other part is I don't think Daryl wanted to feel in any way indebted to this douche.
See, that's the
Even if
thing,
it was
though.
secondhand.
That's the thing, though. Some people, they don't want to be saved. Okay. They can do what they want. She's dealt with him. She thinks she's smart enough to deal with it. And being the feminist that I am, I'd like to think she actually knows what she's talking about. I mean, hell, she lifted car keys and a gun from that guy.
Yeah, I know.
She's
Well,
not helpless.
no, she's not helpless, but honestly, if I had been in Daryl's place, male or female, if I was watching this go down, I'd be nope, because again, I wouldn't want to be part of this transaction.
And he's not. He already spoke his piece. I get it. They're probably
Yeah.
going to come out for the better for it, but in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you spoke your piece. She's telling you to back down. Back down. Um but I get it, they're going to have to work through this now before they are cool again, or
Yeah.
she's going to
Well,
apologize, but
I think for her, part of it was when he stepped up. I mean, part of it was her pride. No, I said I would get you home, and he was like, "This is not worth the price for me. I'll figure another way out." Um, And I think and I think he's thinking that there's he's not the only game in town. There's got to be other ways.
There probably are. He's probably the easiest and the fastest.
Right, the easiest and the fastest, but not the only way.
Exactly.
And a guy like that, I mean, so fine. He says he makes the deal, but does he really keep it? And that's the thing that people like that, they're not always really great at keeping their promises, or they only give you
Exactly.
the bare. They give you the letter of what they said, but not the spirit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly, which is why, like, when he said, "Oh, I'm the daddy," or whatever he said, "That's my kid," I've been like, as her, as that character, I'd have been like, "Bullshit! What are you talking about?"
Right.
You
What are you
know,
talking
like,
about?
I would have demanded some words. Like, how are you even saying this? Make it make sense to me. Now, I'm not saying as the audience, but as me, the character, you got to
Mm-hmm.
tell me something. You don't have to, like,
I
rehash the whole damn story, but a couple sentences.
I think she'd already experienced a couple of blows because by the time they got there, one they'd seen Amy, and there was guilt,
Oh,
and
yeah.
even knowing it's not her fault, there was guilt. And
Yeah.
then going back into that basically a nightclub, which was the last place she had been before everything went to hell. In Paris was a nightclub, and you could see that she was feeling very uncomfortable there, even to begin with.
Yeah.
And then there was the first deal
Yeah.
that was obviously shady as hell.
I know.
And
Wait, let's finish the nightclub before we go to that. So,
well, they were
uh,
still in the nightclub with that deal, you know.
oh, okay. So you're talking about at the beginning when they were going down?
Well, when they first went in there, and the leader of the other group said, "Hey, I'll find some people," and he brings them over,
Oh,
and the guy pulled the knife.
yeah.
So that was already one deal gone to hell. And then she sees her ex, which I think she was kind of expecting in some way, but it was still a shock to find out this was his.
Yeah, I
And
think she was expecting to see him, but still surprised.
right,
Like this is his stumping ground, right? This is the type of place he would be.
mm-hmm. But
But
to
she
find out that
probably
he's running it, it's
exactly.
his. So I
Mhm.
think for her, there was just kind of it's been this kind of blow after blow after blow. So by the time he got to the point where he says, "Why didn't you tell me I had a son?" I think she might have just went, "Uh," you know,
Say what? Yeah, I get
processing,
that.
processing, processing.
I get it.
you
So
know,
I'm sure they're going to have another confrontation about it then.
right?
It's
And
not
and as
done.
soon as because as soon as he started to say something, she got Laurent out of there. You know,
Mhm.
get him gone because she knew he was going to say something, even if she didn't know exactly what it was.
She knows him.
Right.
She know he is up to no good. Nothing good can come of this.
Exactly. And as soon as he showed interest in Laurent, she knew that he needed to be taken away.
Yeah.
So, and there might even be some doubt. He might, he's claiming that it's his, but there's no proof one way or the other.
Mhm.
She has no
And it's
idea who
not
the
like you
father
can
is.
get it. You can't
Right.
get proof. No DNA testing nowadays.
And as good as Laurent is, she doesn't want him to have anything to do with this guy because he is everything she doesn't want him to be.
Mhm. And I mean, if he's supposed to be the one, the new, you know,
Savior.
leader, savior, obviously, she wants him nowhere near that guy. Period. No influence of him at all.
Although it
Um,
does kind of surprise me that they brought him there. Why
well,
didn't
they
they just leave
couldn't
him?
leave him.
Well, why couldn't they leave him in the compound?
I mean, she probably doesn't trust anyone that much. Like, yeah, these people believe that he is also that they believe what she believes, but who do you really trust? She doesn't really know them.
Yeah, but I mean, there was the other sister,
Yeah,
and
but she came along too.
she trusted him, enough to leave Lauren in their care while she went to her old apartment.
Well, it's in the script.
I
they
know
could they couldn't leave him because he wouldn't have had the scene with the singer, right?
exactly. I
And
mean,
the ex-boyfriend would have never seen him. So he's a vehicle to move forward the plot.
right.
Um So I get that, but yes, logically speaking, they probably could have left him behind. It would have been
Hmm.
easier. But when they walked into that club, I'm like, wow. Of course, a Paris nightclub is able to retain all of this stuff. I'm like, wow, they got full face makeup. They got
Yeah,
bottles of champagne that look like real champagne. They had the hookup. They chilling. They smoking. They're doing drugs. They're dancing. I mean, it was like, wow.
yeah. Well, and the one guy when they were going through the catacombs said, we're an old, America's young. We
Yeah,
are an old country, and this is not our first apocalypse.
it wasn't when you put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had the plague and everything else, and
Mhm.
they're walking through the bones of all the people that there were so many that died. They didn't have space to bury them.
Yeah, that was so wild. I'm like, oh my god, it's a catacomb. Ew.
Yeah, I know.
Gross. But I mean, I
And
guess it's no grosser than all the dead bodies all over the street.
exactly, and and as they go through, it's like, yeah, this used to be, was a, for which side? Well, whichever. It went back and forth. Whoever was winning. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I mean, it's a secure location, and it's difficult to get to, and so yeah, people probably feel very safe there, and something tells me, um, uh, what is that guy's name? Do you know?
Ooh.
The nightclub owner, the
Oh, it
boyfriend
was
ish.
yeah, I knew it a minute ago. It's
Sorry,
gone now. It'll come back.
but something tells me he probably never leaves that place.
Probably not.
He has no reason. I mean, he has everything he needs. He has food. He
Mhm.
has drugs. He has women. He has
Mhm.
safety. There's, and honestly, I'm sure probably like most of them, the ones that the entertainment and the help. Something tell. Oh, Quinn. Thank you, Karina.
Thanks,
Um,
Karina. So,
but something tells me that they probably just live there full time. They never leave.
yeah. So speaking of the entertainment, I don't watch the Drag Race show, but
I don't
as I
either.
was kind of looking through, apparently this drag queen was a winner of the UK version of Drag Race. No, France version, excuse me, of Drag Race.
Oh,
So for those that watch that show, they were like, "Ooh, Paloma's here." That's her name, her drag name.
oh, okay.
So I thought that was pretty interesting because I'm like, well, I knew it must have been someone that we were supposed to know because that was so dramatic
Mm-hmm.
and grand. And, I'm like, oh, wow, who is this? And of course, it didn't take much Googling to figure it out. It was like right at the top of the stories.
Yeah. I probably could have looked. I just didn't. But no, I don't watch any reality TV shows of any kind, so it went right over my head.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
Uh,
something I didn't know, Tamara.
oh my gosh, that barely happens rarely.
so
Um, but
I
yeah,
pointed
that
it
was
out for you,
interesting.
okay?
Thank you. So that was interesting. But yeah, like Laurent, he got the little necklace, and it's funny. Okay, so fun little story about that necklace. It was the Eiffel Tower on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking how I just saw a bunch of those like necklaces like at the little shops that had the Eiffel Tower on it because it's like junk. It's not real jewelry.
Right.
It's like Eiffel Tower on everything, and they had
Mm-hmm.
necklaces and bracelets with the Eiffel Tower. I'm like, oh, so she gave him like a touristy kind of
Mm-hmm.
necklace, but I guess it suits what he wanted it for.
Right. Well, and it's I mean, she had been wearing it, so it was something she obviously did like.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it
sure
wasn't.
jewelry isn't readily available, so
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a completely empty gift.
no. That's because his mother was also standing in front of the
Mm-hmm.
Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I thought,
And
oh, that's fun.
Norman wanted her in the show, according to Karina.
Yeah, I read that in the article. Yeah, he's a fan
Oh,
of
okay.
the show, and I guess he wanted to work with RuPaul or something, and that's how that happened. Yeah.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
But so, and then we got, you know, uh, the I really did kind of like that interaction between her and Daryl. Which I don't need a hero. I needed some, That's not what I'm looking for here. And he's just looking like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just saying, I don't want a hero.
Well, I don't know. I still feel like something funny might happen. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna. I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't. You and I discussed this last week, and I don't think there will. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, but one of the big ones is if he starts a relationship with her, one of his main drivers to get back to the United States is gone.
Well, you know what? He's already will it sound like he's willing to throw it out the window that fast. He's like, "Oh, I don't need it that bad. Not that bad. I'll find another way, even if it takes him a month via carrier pigeon."
Yeah.
So he's instantly already kind of, no, no, I can wait. It's not that urgent after all. It's fine.
I mean, he wants to get home. But I think he also wants to get home with as clear a conscience as he can.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But he's willing to sacrifice the speed to get home for something else. So that's what I'm saying. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
urgent is it? In his
And
mind, it might have been, but if he instantly stepped it down when something else more important to him surfaced,
I
his
mean, and
morale.
I mean, truthfully, I mean, obviously, I mean, they're boats. We know there are boats. Yeah. I don't. If he really just wanted to take off and sail, he probably could. I don't know if he knows how to sail. Something tells me he probably doesn't. Too bad Carol wasn't with him because she knows how.
She does.
Yep.
Maybe she can sail them back at the end, but I doubt it.
I'm pretty sure Carol is sailing herself over the ocean at this point.
Yeah. I don't know. Now that like I know there's a season 2, this puts a lot of things. It changes my opinion of what's going to happen and what I'm expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but with this only being 6 episodes, there's not a lot of time to tell the story that they're trying to tell for this season. So I don't know what we're going to get. I feel like it's going to be like this had a lot of filler as well as information, like
I think
see,
most of this was set up for next week.
yeah, like for example, did they have to take the detour? No, but they took the detour and we got to see an orchestra of walkers. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. That was
But
something different.
yeah, it was very different. It's very unique. I'm like, oh wow, look at that crazy. But we didn't need it. It wasn't vital to the story at all.
Well,
So
in some ways, it's almost like she's trying because she's like, no, we're gonna make this detour. We're gonna, and the only reason that they made the detour is because he was supposed to have a radio,
right.
and it's almost as if she's really trying hard right now to get uh, Daryl gone.
Yeah, I would agree with that. She wants to, he helped her. Now she wants to help him. I agree
Mm-hmm.
with that. But, you know, she's like, oh, I have some other option. That guy didn't have it. Let's just go to the city and see if we can find it. With these people can help us. So
Mm-hmm.
technically, they still could have skipped that and came to the city and looked for the radio.
Right.
So I'm just saying this episode seemed to have some filler,
I think
which
someone got the bright idea of having a zombie orchestra and went, oh, I don't. We have to.
yeah, they're like, it looked good on camera. Let's do it. How can we make that happen? How do we have to twist the story where they could see that?
Mm-hmm. And I'm not exactly upset about it. I mean,
Hmm.
I did I did enjoy both of their looks as they stood there.
Oh my God, Daryl was looking like this is effing crazy town. What
Yeah.
is this waste of time? It's
I
like
mean, they're both just kind of
what
looking
is
at each other like, that, yeah, this is happening.
yeah,
Okay. There's
yeah.
music.
And of course, the minute that music is playing all loud and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna bring walkers. It's so loud, and it does.
And it does.
Yeah. I'm like, how often is he playing that music like that? It's such a racket.
Well, I mean, I don't know, depending on how sturdy that building is. Although, I mean, they walked in there with no difficulty, so.
Hmm. But one thing I did wonder in this scene, so they're waiting outside. the walker is coming. She gets out, the nun gets out with the gun and she's pointing it, but she won't shoot it. I'm like, okay, obviously she's gonna let the thing get up on her. And then when Daryl comes out, he takes the gun and shoots the walker. I'm like, why didn't he just stab it in the head?
I was wondering that myself because the walker at that time was close enough, and there was
Yeah.
only and he was by himself, so instead of shooting, stabbing him in the head would have been the better choice.
Yeah, it's loud. You know how guns work. You're really familiar. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
would you shoot it instead of stabbing it? I don't get it.
Well,
I
it's
don't
kind of
know.
like why doesn't he use his crossbow anymore?
Yeah.
But he
Oh,
does. He still has his mace, so that's that's something anyway.
mm-hmm.
And but yeah, when they and then when they so when they get to Paris, this is the kid, this is Laurent, and of course Laurent
Oh,
is just looking around like, okay, sure, because no one's bothered to tell him that they think he's special.
well, she says to him he's special, and when he gets there, all the kids are like, just not the kids. Everyone's kind of like paying homage to him, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm like, wow, how are you not overwhelmed by that? Like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, as he just walks up the stairs to speak to the woman who lost her husband, it's like he just gravitated himself up there
Mm-hmm.
and hugs the woman. And they're like, oh, no one can talk to him. No one can talk to her or console her. But, he was able to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, he is a child. Who's going to yell at a kid, get away from me? Nobody.
Right.
So it's like, in some ways, I kind of understand how Daryl is breaking this down to logic.
Mm-hmm.
And he even like takes some, jabs at her about, what happens when it's an apocalypse. People go to order and religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wish that the show would give me more context about what this savior, why they think he is this exactly, and exactly what they think he's able to do. Because it's kind of murky now. Like they're just letting us draw a lot of conclusions,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of wishy washy.
Well, I think for right now they want us to be kind of vague on it,
Yeah.
and so they're kind of throwing out these little breadcrumbs where he could be either or. He could be special, or he could just be a really intelligent kid, and that's what Daryl says. He could just be a really
That's what I
smart
think.
kid.
That's what I think. That's what I'm like. Unless you're gonna throw in some supernatural aspects into this, like he's just a kid.
Yeah, I mean, has he ever turned water to wine? This is very important.
Yeah, even if he is just a kid, I kind of almost just want to hear the story of what they think he is and why.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope we get that before the end of the season.
I kind of think we will. I think it's going to come probably. So next week we know that they're searching for him because he's mad.
Oh my God, he hears them arguing.
But it's not even just that they're arguing, but what they're arguing about.
Yeah, they're arguing about her not telling the truth and being honest
Mm-hmm.
with him, and he just is, I hate you both. Runs off. I'm like, oh my God.
Well,
That's a
this
kid.
is. She's kept the fact from him that she's his aunt.
Yeah.
How his mother died, what happened,
Yeah.
and all of this stuff, and who she was even. And I think he's mad at Daryl because Daryl knew and didn't say anything to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although
Like
I
she
don't.
didn't say. And now, of course, his daddy in the
Yeah.
works. You're not going to tell him that, are you? Of course
No.
not. She's
No.
good at lying. She a liar.
Yeah. And honestly, though, I mean, the kid really shouldn't be that mad at Daryl because Daryl's telling her, you need to tell him,
Just how Isabel's madness was directed at Daryl because she was mad at something else. It's the same with Laurent. Like
Right.
he's mad at something else and he's just Daryl's convenient, so I'm just gonna hate you too.
And that makes sense. I mean, he is a kid
Yeah.
and he has found out he has been told one thing about his origins, and now he finds out that all of it was a lie.
I know.
And so I mean, that really is devastating. It has to be devastating.
And I understand, like, when the child is young, you don't have to give the gory details
Mm-hmm.
of what happened in your birth story, right? But you can say some of it. You can give some information. You can give context so he does not oblivious. You don't have to tell a straight up lie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not necessary. Like, oh, he told this crazy story last episode about his parents and his
Right.
father, right?
His father's in the Foreign Legion.
Yeah, no, your father is this dude in this club right here.
Mm-hmm.
How's that gonna it's not gonna flow well. He's not gonna like it.
No. And I mean, he slid down like in between like the scaffolding in the wall.
Yeah,
So apparently he's getting better at hiding. He did learn something from
he
previous
did.
episode. How to hide better.
He did. He got a lot better. He was quick. He was quick out of there in a hurry, but
Mm-hmm.
that
And
was
and
crazy.
obviously Lauren's father, if he is his father, wasn't all that concerned about him because he gave up Daryl,
Yeah.
knowing that Daryl was, kind of
With his son.
with his son.
Yeah, he sure did. Well, hey, now this is like worrying my business. He had an agreement.
Yeah,
So now that this is threatening my business, yeah, I'll give him up. Who cares if my kid is with them? It's fine.
it's fine.
He don't care about that child. He only is using him as a tool.
Right. Oh, I know that. But like I said, we obviously have clearly established this child's safety is not of the highest priority.
Mm-mm. He running around, hiding from people. Like, come on. Like, that is. And it's like almost hard to comprehend. He's supposed to be this great thing, and he's running around just acting like a child. That's what children do.
Mm-hmm. But he is a child.
He is.
That's exactly what he is. I mean, he's a very smart one. Very, very smart.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's got a lot of empathy. He's very sweet. But he's still a child.
He's sweet, but he's bratty. But I get it. He's found out some really hard things in a way that's not very comfortable.
Well, and
Because
he's never
yeah,
been around another child before either.
yeah,
And when he was with the nuns, they always let him win. And they, basically everything he did, they praised him for. So, you know, reality's, it's not hitting him super hard, but he is, there is some adaptation that he's struggling with.
oh, it's totally slapping him in the face. It totally is. I mean, every single interaction he's had has kind of been jarring for him.
True. I mean, it hasn't hit him as hard as it has hit some other kids, like the ones at the daycare.
Mm-hmm.
you know, he's had it pretty. I mean, even now that he's being introduced to the world, it's still in a very cautious way.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, if he was just left to his own devices, this poor little thing probably wouldn't survive.
No, he can't trust anybody. I feel like he feels like he can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Um, and especially I think that Isabel has been probably the main person dealing with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like. And he totally can't trust her now.
Right.
So what does he do? Like, who do you.
Well,
He
and he
feels
thought
like he's
Daryl
got
was his friend.
nothing. Yeah.
He thought Daryl was his friend and found out that Daryl knew this about him and didn't share.
Yeah. Both nuns won't tell him anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's just walking around oblivious. Poor child. Like, he knows something is off. He knows it, but he doesn't know it. He
Right.
doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Exactly. Well, and then we should probably briefly talk about the other walker in the room.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about that crazy Walker situation. I'm like, what is happening? So we did not see them inject that Walker with anything,
No, we came in mid
but
experiment.
right. But it's leaving us to assume some things. Like, for example, when the Walker was first there, it wasn't breaking out of the chain at first.
Mm-hmm.
It took a second. So his strength was increasing.
Mm-hmm.
as they ran out of the room and slammed the door.
Yeah.
And
Good choice. Good choice.
yeah, right. And then the thing just like hits the wall and like just smash. I was like, what happened?
Explodes.
Yeah,
Well, his head
I'm like,
exploded.
yeah, I'm like, but how is that possible? Like, was he just going so hard that the force just exploded his head, or was it what they injected him with?
Maybe a bit of both. It might make him more fragile in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
The one guy did have the time, the timer, 18 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go from time of injection to explodey head, about 18 seconds. So they're
Mm-hmm.
obviously trying to get it to do something. And after she watches his head explode, she just walks out of the room going, keep on,
Keep
carry
keeping
on.
on. Yeah, that was
So
so weird.
they're trying, now personally from my point of view, I don't understand why you would want a berserker super strong walker.
I
If
know.
I was in their position, I would be going, how do we make these things just stop?
Right. Honestly, why would you want to increase the speed and strength of something that you can't control? If
Exactly.
anything, I would be working on how to control it first before trying to increase any kind of abilities.
Exactly.
That's backwards.
Well, and I'm going to go with, because there's so many variants around there, that these variants have got to be some kind of escapee situation.
Mm-hmm.
And now the next question is are these the people that were originally associated with um, the Paris experiment that apparently started this whole thing, or are they just basically a muscle group that came upon the research and went, oh hey, well, let's try to keep this up?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. We don't have a lot of details still. See, that's another thing. It's like normally I don't think it would be such a big deal that we have so many questions at episode 3, but this is a extremely compact season.
Yeah,
So I feel like you have to know things a little faster or it's going to feel like this huge info dump at the end of the season,
yeah.
or like this huge, they just go through like the villain of Scooby Doo and
Mm-hmm.
just,
Well,
blurt everything out. I don't know.
because we only had like about 10-15 minutes in the very first episode to kind
Mhm.
of lay out some groundwork with them,
Mhm.
and then we didn't get anything on the second episode, and then we had that little segue there of what, maybe 10 minutes,
If that.
and most of that episode, or most of that little scene, was the one guy going, I will get Daryl Dixon for you.
Yeah.
Do we have a
And then
deal?
that last thing was in passing. It was like they were
Mm-hmm.
walking past and she wanted to catch the results of the experiment.
Yeah, and then nothing else. The only other thing there was in the nightclub, hey, we have a deal, and that's it. So we know
Yeah.
that she's a power of some kind,
Mhm.
but we don't know. Are they doing this experiments because they found research and they're just kind of playing monkey with it,
Right.
or if these were part of, if they were scientists that were part of the original experiment that you know joined this group, or what. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we know that they're doing experiments. We just don't know why, or who they are, or for what purpose. And we need at least answers to two of those questions. At least two.
This guy looks scary though.
Yeah.
He looks mean. He about
I
to
told
die.
I told my parents I would watch over my baby brother.
He may be a liar.
He made me a liar.
Like, okay, be
Yeah,
mad
but
if you want to. You about to sign your own death warrant.
well, then maybe if you were that concerned about it, you should have kept your brother with you at all times.
Look, when Daryl had him, I said, choke him out, choke him out. He
Oh
almost
yeah, and
dead.
he was, and if he hadn't gotten shot at, the guy'd be dead.
Yeah, I'm like, look, are they gonna let him? Are they gonna let him kill him on screen? Is Daryl gonna kill him? And I'm like, I don't think they'll let him. He's gonna, even though I wanted him to, I just kind of knew something would stop it.
Mm-hmm.
before he would be able to kill him. But
I was thinking it was going to be one of two things. It was either going to be Lauren stumbled across them
mm-hmm,
and shifted the dynamic at somehow, or they, or guns, or the building was going to collapse, or
mm-hmm,
the ceiling, which it did, but not till later.
mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Well, that part was good. I did like. So there were some good things in the episode. There were.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, I did actually kind of the because and I think it was probably stuck in my head because we had talked about Amy last
Mm,
week.
yeah.
I'm just like, oh, Amy,
Oh,
you should
poor
have gone
kid.
upstairs to see your mama like you were
I
told
know.
to.
I know. So even what did you think about the pace though? So we talked about like the couple of things they had going on like on the plot, but is it just me? I still felt like it was slow even though there was a lot going on. Did you think it was slow or is that just me?
I didn't really not. I think they're like I said. I think a lot of this episode was throwing out just enough information to set us up for next week.
Mm,
Because I've seen the previews for next week, and we know that the kid goes to the Eiffel Tower,
mhm.
and we know that there's going to be a showdown of sorts,
Mhm.
and you know, I think they're setting us up to really kind of we're going to get more answers, but I think it's probably going to be next episode.
I wonder if we're going to see some of these other walkers in the wild. So like this episode we saw the acid one again.
Ooh, did you see the face? I mean, they really clearly showed the face in this one. Did you notice that?
I did. Actually, I think I got a picture of it
And how it kind of like
right here.
glow or not glowed, but it was reddish and it crinkled and the there was like movement from whatever is making them acidic.
Well, this photo I have on the screen, sorry if y'all listening to the audio, but that's the one he was putting against the bars,
Mm-hmm.
right? To get it
Yeah.
to loosen up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. He looked kind of crazy. That
Yeah,
looks
because
weird.
he had kind of like a molten, slightly reddish thing going on the one side of the face.
Oh, wow.
And
I mean, he actually used that walker pretty the burner, I guess they call them
yeah,
burners.
burners.
He used that pretty, adeptly. He's like, "Oh, let me grab this
Yeah.
grab this thing and use it to get the gate loose."
Yep. I am going to put a big hole in it so it will
Yeah.
spew acid everywhere.
Yeah. But I wonder if like that was cool to see that again. So it wasn't like a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're supposed to be not as common, but they're around.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we'll get to see some of the other ones in this episode, like out in the wild. Will we
Yeah.
see one chasing somebody? Will we see one being extra strong or opening doors or climbing, doing all the crazy stuff?
Yeah. Although I will say when the walkers started dropping out of the rooms,
Hmm.
all I could think about was Negan.
Oh, I thought about the walkers dropping out of the sky.
Yeah.
Cause it was splat, splat,
Yeah.
splat, and then the one I'm like, oh, that one didn't fall as far. It's gonna get up, and it did
Yeah.
get up.
Well, actually, three of them got up.
Yeah, the first one that was closest, then the other one took a longer time, but it
Mm-hmm.
did get up. I didn't see the third one.
It was way in the back.
Uh huh.
Um, and then of course there's Amy,
Yeah,
but poor Amy was stuck there in weeds. She just stood there for so long. She was stuck in the weeds.
I know. I'm like, I think that's good because, well, good for her. Her that they didn't have to stab her in the head. They
Yeah.
just wanted to leave her. Well, Isabel wanted to leave her. She didn't
Yeah.
want to.
I
But
don't
if she
know.
came after them, hey, she could get it in the head,
Yeah.
stab in the head.
Honestly, for mercy's sake, I would have killed her.
I think I would have too. And I'm surprised Daryl didn't because, like I said, again, he has all the experience with this.
Mm-hmm.
Isabel has been like locked away, in her castle, quote unquote. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So she hasn't had as much experience dealing with this. And he has. I'm surprised he didn't. But I guess it's because it's her person. She knew
Mm-hmm.
them. It's not him to. It's not for him to choose. It's for her
Right.
to choose.
Well, and now she has been out and about some because we know that she was the one that was leaving all those messages and notes
Right.
everywhere. So
Right.
she was a little, when she was out, she wasn't dressed as a nun,
No,
but
but I still think, okay, so you're out in the, not the wilderness, but you're out in the country. You're not
mm-hmm.
seeing the amount of walkers or
Right.
whatever runner, whatever they're calling them in this world. There, she's not seeing a bunch of them like we're seeing in Paris or as they get closer to the city.
But they
I
did know how
feel
to take care of a burner bite or burner thing,
yeah, they did know how to do that.
so they do
But I
have
don't know.
some
I think about the
experience.
nun, like the one nun. What's the black nun's name? She literally looked like she wasn't going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you going to let the thing come and bite you? What are you going to do? She
Yeah.
just literally was just standing there. Like, I don't know.
Well, she's very
Maybe.
young, and her has she has not been. I don't think she's been out of that monastery since she was what 5, 6.
Well, I think that's also the wrong thing to do. You're in an apocalypse. Everyone needs training.
Oh,
Hell,
I know.
even Laurent, poor kid, he doesn't even know how to defend himself.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, and we've seen kind of this back and forth where you have, um, I mean, even going back to just Alexandria, we have Judith, and then we have Grace,
Yeah.
and they're similar age to each other, but raised entirely different. And Grace can kind of take care of herself, but not really.
She know
Judith,
how
on
to
the other
scream for
hand,
help.
yeah,
Help
I
me,
mean,
help me.
because Judith is out and about wandering outside of the walls, and no one thinks, no one freaks out. But Grace, she never leaves the confines of the settlement unless she's with somebody.
I am a fan of kids learning how to defend themselves because
Yeah,
what happens if I'm not around or what happens if something slips through? That's really, I
yeah.
think, short sighted
Oh yeah.
to just assume. And then knowing, Isabel, knowing eventually that Laurent would have to make this journey, right? She knew that the whole time. Why aren't you
Mm-hmm.
preparing him? And I feel like I said this before in the first episode, but why are you not preparing him better? He's going to have to make a journey. Do you think that nothing, he will come across nothing as you guys are going from A
Right.
to B? I don't know. It just seems really short sighted and stupid.
Mm-hmm. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think there's always that parental instinct to want to shield your children from whatever harm might be, and from the terrible things of reality, because you don't want to scare your child to death, you know.
But this is the world. You can't scare them to death if this is the world.
Oh,
It's
I
not
know.
like a cautionary tale. It's not one of those, oh, the boogeyman's coming. It's
Because the
not
boogeyman really is
cautionary.
coming in this case.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
and
I
I
feel
agree
like if
with
it's
you.
normal, if you make it, if you normalize it, and you're talking about it from the beginning, then it's not going to be this big shock. Versus if you soften everything, and
You know,
then, well,
I
we told
mean,
you
and
this.
Lauren had seen a walker, at least one, because of the priest.
Yeah,
But
but they're up here like, oh, let's just read to him. What the?
I know.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I know.
guess. I guess.
So I mean, in there, I guess I don't know. I don't agree with not training. Honestly, all of them not training how to defend themselves.
Hmm.
But there's also the part that they're nuns. They're supposed to be
You
nonviolent.
know what? Give me a nun with a gun and a knife who knows how to use it
Yeah,
anytime in the apocalypse. I'll be totally happy for it.
exactly.
She can pray and do her Hail Marys after. Save yourself.
Yeah, because
Protect others.
this is not a place for peacefulness
No, I don't know. I mean,
or
I
passiveness. I guess I should say, because nuns are
yeah,
actually
right.
pacifists.
And I understand. I understand. No one wants to kill anything, but you're killing what's already dead.
Yeah, but it also means also defending yourself against not great people.
Mm-hmm.
But although she did kind of do that, I mean, when she first met Daryl, she
She
did.
did.
She did. So I don't know. I think I think they were just trying to, in some ways, try to keep him somewhat innocent for
Mhm.
the time being, and I don't agree that that was the best choice. And Lauren apparently agrees with us because he's mad as hell.
As he should be. And I feel like the more and more he finds out, he's rightfully going to be very pissed off.
Yeah.
He's I mean, hell, if he comes into contact with some of these things while he's out there and he has a close call, he's going to not understand why I don't know how to kill them, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he knows. Maybe he's better than what I'm thinking. Maybe.
Well, I mean, we've also, I mean, he's been since they left, since they have left the monastery, he has gotten increasingly upset because he knows now that he has been lied to about a variety of things.
Yes.
So, and I really think that by the time he overheard that conversation between the two of them, I think that was kind of the final nail in the coffin for him. You didn't lie to me about one or two things. You lied to me about everything.
Mhm.
My entire life is a lie.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's, and again, I mean, I get it. He's angsty, but in some ways, it's justifiable too.
Yes, and most kids are angsty, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like that balance of you're gonna expect a kid to act like a kid,
Mm-hmm.
but also they're smart enough to know better. you know?
Although I
So
will say, I mean, I have met some adults in my life that have been pretty damn angsty. When
me
you're going, oh
too,
my
and I
god,
don't
just
like it.
grow up,
I
stop.
don't. Yeah, I can't. I don't. I don't have anyone in my inner circle that are angsty adults because I think it's utterly ridiculous.
Not in my
I can't.
not in my inner circle.
Yes. Not where I have to listen to you every day or every other day. No.
Exactly.
Mm-mm.
But these are people that what are they? They're people I know. I don't even want to call it
Acquaintances.
acquaintances. Yeah, I mean, it's
yes.
they're not really social friends even.
Mhm.
They're public people I know,
Mhm.
or it's like one of my friends and they're dating someone like that. Oh, really? Really?
Here we go
Really?
again.
Could you
Never learned a
choose more
lesson.
wisely?
No, of course not. They didn't.
No, no, they did not. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, so again, this he is a kid, and it has probably been very troublesome for him for a
Mhm.
lot of reasons, and
Mhm.
it's not been a great journey.
No.
Even though by and large this has probably been one of the easier journeys I've seen um, Daryl make.
Yeah, it's been pretty easy for him
Yeah,
considering.
but for this kid, I mean, this is all just it. I mean, it really does have to be overwhelming, even if it is by apocalypse standards a walk in the park.
Mhm. I
So,
agree. I agree. I'm curious to see what's next. How quickly we'll get through to the main, because we got to deal with this guy, the current villain right now, and then the bigger villain who
right.
is that woman. Um,
And we do know at some point Carol shows up on set. We know that
right,
she's there.
which I am convinced is going to be the finale.
Yeah, like I said,
Um,
she's gonna roll up in her sailboat that she took from the what do you call it, Oceanside.
yeah, possibly. I don't know. They're keeping a pretty tight lid on that, and people aren't really talking. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're under embargo. Obviously, they can't speak about stuff until a certain point, and they're not supposed to anyway.
Well, and in some ways, since there's been the writer strike and the actor strike, it's a little easier because there's not interviews for someone to slip on anything.
Hmm.
So in some ways, that's made it a little easier to keep the lid on things.
The reviewers that have seen the whole season are keeping their mouth shut appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really exposing anything ahead of time.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
to,
because it
well, not to the audience at large. That is right. They're
right.
not.
Well, because if they open their mouth and they say something they shouldn't, then they'll never be able to do it again.
Yeah, they'll yank it back like you're off the list.
You're off the list.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, it's not just for The Walking Dead. You know, they do it for a lot of different shows. So if they breach that contract, you know,
Mhm.
it's not just one show. It's all of them that they work on.
Yeah, I get it.
So
Yeah, it's been kind of it's been mild. Like I said, I heard the one spoiler, but I heard from someone who has the inside scoop, and I said, "Yeah, tell me."
look at you go,
So,
cheater, cheater.
well, I was like, I'm curious. I'm like, yeah, tell me what it is. But I didn't know anything but that one fact. I didn't know any of the details of how it was going to come out or what was going to be said. I just
Yeah,
knew that one thing. So, yeah, I'm okay with a spoiler here and there. I don't know. I just don't feel as, and maybe it's because everyone doesn't have access to it. So ahead of time, so I feel more okay.
titillation,
Yeah, I feel okay with a spoiler here and there. I'm like, yeah, tell me.
titillation. That's the word you're
Yes,
looking for.
exactly. You got it. You nail on the head.
Alrighty, well, I think we're about done discussing this episode, unless there's something else you want to bring up.
No, I think we are finished. But I would like to say, you guys, please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you're listening, and subscribe and follow and like the episode, share the episode. That would really help us out.
Talk
Um,
about us.
talk about us. Yeah, we want more TWD watchers listening. So if everybody shared at least one time, oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yes, it would be.
So yeah, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to the whole episode. Thanks for being here. It's been a fun time. And we're going to end things there. We'll see you next week. Take care, guys.
Bye bye.